Let me ask you something kind of uncomfortable. Have you ever rewritten a text 5 times and then just deleted it? Not because it was wrong, but because you couldn't stop imagining how it would be judged. That moment right there, that's not overthinking, that's control. And the worst part, you don't even realize it's happening. Or imagine this, you're at a restaurant. You already know what you want. But the second you sit down across from someone you're trying to impress, suddenly you're mentally editing your order. Too indulgent, too complicated, too much. So you pick something safe and spend the meal low-key resenting it. Nobody asked you to do that. Nobody even noticed, but you did it anyway. Here's the part most people get completely wrong. You think you don't care what people think, but your entire day is shaped by it. Think about the last time you had a strong opinion in a room full of people who felt differently. Did you say it, or did you suddenly get very interested in seeing all sides of the issue? Be honest, because most people don't feel like they're backing down in those moments. They feel like they're being mature, open-minded. The social pressure doesn't feel like pressure. It just quietly replaces what you believe. And here's where it stops being relatable and starts being a little unsettling. The part of your brain that processes social rejection is the exact same part that processes physical pain. Your brain literally cannot tell the difference between being excluded and being hurt. So when you stay quiet, when you play it safe, when you change the answer right before it leaves your mouth, that's not weakness, that's survival. Because for most of human history, being kicked out of the group wasn't awkward, it was fatal. Your brain isn't being irrational. It's running software written long before any of this existed. The problem is, it hasn't gotten the update yet. But here's where it gets personally relevant. That wiring was built for survival. You're using it to decide whether to post a photo, to pick a career, to stay in situations that stopped working for you a long time ago, just because leaving would mean facing what other people might say about it. I didn't see how much I was doing this until I started paying attention to the small stuff. Not consciously picturing someone, just that vague sense of an audience. The way you'll clean your whole apartment before a friend comes over, but live in complete chaos for weeks when it's just you, or how a single compliment from someone you barely know can shift the entire energy of your afternoon. Let's make this real for a second. Think about the last decision you made today. How much of it was actually yours? Here's a psychology truth that hits hard. Your self-esteem isn't fixed inside you. It's a signal, a real-time reading of how accepted you feel by the people around you, which means a lot of the confidence you feel or don't feel isn't actually coming from you. It's coming from how accepted you think you are. And on some days, that's a terrifying thing to realize, because it means you can do everything right, hit every goal, build exactly the life you planned, and still feel hollow if the people around you aren't reflecting back what you hoped they would. There's a version of caring what people think that's completely healthy, wanting to be a good friend, wanting your work to land, wanting to be understood. That's not a flaw. That's connection. But there's another version, the one where you're so focused on managing how you're perceived, you slowly stop making decisions that are actually yours, where everything you do has an invisible audience attached to it, where you can't tell anymore what you actually want versus what you want people to see you wanting. That version is exhausting. And the worst part, it doesn't even work. You can spend your whole life curating the image and still feel like nobody actually knows you, because they don't. They know the edited version, the one you approved before it went out. So what do? Step 1, notice the gap. Not fixing it yet, just catching yourself in the moment. Before you speak or post, before you automatically agree to something, just pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it's true or because it's safe? Step 2, get honest about whose opinion you're actually performing for. Most of the time, it's not even a specific person. It's a blurry composite of everyone who ever made you feel like too much or not enough. You're not managing real people's opinions. You're managing a ghost, and you cannot win an argument with a ghost. Truth is, you've probably been doing it for so long, you don't even know who you are without it. Step 3, make one small decision a week that has no audience. Order what you actually want. Say the opinion. Post the thing without refreshing it 40 times. Not as some grand act of self-expression, just as practice. Practice reminding yourself, I exist even when no one is watching. Here's the final truth about people who seem genuinely comfortable in themselves. They didn't stop caring overnight. They just got tired of the performance before they found anything real to replace it with. And in that gap, they realized their own opinion of themselves was the only one they ever had any real control over. You're never going to fully stop caring what people think. That's not the goal. And anyone telling you it is selling something. The goal is just to make sure your voice is louder in your own head than theirs is. Because if it isn't, you're not really living your life, you're performing it. And eventually you forget who you were before the performance started. At some point, the most radical thing you can do is to stop auditioning. And if something about that hit different, sit with it. Subscribe if you want to keep going deeper. Most people scroll past this stuff for a reason.